Hey everybody, I'm your girl Neil. Welcome to Blue Lotus Awakenings channel or the XJW podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here today. This topic is very near and dear to my heart, and it's a personal story, but maybe some of you can relate. And to those of you who are thinking about becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses and you have young children, maybe this is the video for you, before a video that you should watch and reference before you enter this organization. I want everyone who decides, who studies with Jehovah's Witnesses, or who is deciding to make that commitment to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I want you to really understand the undertakings and the underpinnings of what it means to make a commitment to becoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Because it's not just a commitment that you are making for yourself, but you're making this commitment with your children, your minor children. So it's very important that you understand what's getting ready to happen and how your children are going to be affected most foremost and centrally. So number one, the most important thing you have to understand when you are raising children in a Jehovah's Witness organization is that they're children. They're still in the process of developing to become adults one day. So it's a whole process that we as human beings go through. We all go through different stages, but children go through a lot of developmental stages as they mature. And so when you are raising children in an organization such as Jehovah's Witnesses or any other restrictive organization, you have to understand that while you are suppressing and restricting your children based on your religious beliefs, you are also restricting and suppressing their development as children. That is one of the most important things that I could ever tell you, especially being an adult who was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses from infancy, and also being a person who raised their children inside of the Jehovah's Witness organization. Being a Jehovah's Witness kid is definitely not one of the easiest things to do. Now, I want to make sure I say this as well. Regardless of whatever religious belief you have as an adult, it is your right to raise your children in the way that you see fit, whether it be socially, culturally, and religiously. That is your right to do, because you're the one that created these children. You brought them into the world, or you adopted them, or you're the guardian of these children. And so you have that principal right to establish some level of morality, to be able to instruct them in ways that's going to be beneficial to them as they reach adulthood. However, when you get into a situation where you're in a religion that, as I said before, is suppressive and oppressive, very, very restrictive, very, very strict, you have to keep in mind that who you're working with are children. All right. Their brains are still developing. That is very key to understand. And through each stage of child development, children are placed in a situation where they need to have the freedom and the access to be able to reach those certain milestones that are necessary to the building blocks of childhood, adolescence, to teenage years or late adulthood, late teenage years, early adulthood. They need to have access and the freedom to move about, to be able to build or use the building blocks that you are providing them with to be able to make good decisions in their adult life. What Jehovah's Witnesses do, and what I have noticed being inside of Jehovah's Witnesses as a child and then growing up into it as an adult and raising children, what the religion does is that it represses children. It not only depresses adults, but it really represses and suppresses children. It suppresses their intellect. It suppresses the urge to discover, to learn, to be able to fill that void of curiosity. how do I mean this? And in what ways do I mean this? How I thought I felt something foreign going up my nose. What am I talking about? Well, when I was coming up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, one of the things I really hated about the new school year was that the school year is set on the calendar at the time from September to June. Between September and June, you have maybe 4 major holidays that occur that is on the school year calendar. So you start off with Labor Day, which there's really no school on Labor Day anyway. Then you have October, which is Halloween. You go into Thanksgiving. Then you go into Christmas, you have New Year's, you have Valentine's Day. If you're in the Midwest, then you have Sweetest Day, you have Easter, then you have Mother's Day, Father's Day. Those are very major holidays that everybody loves and participate in. And if you're in the public school system, those holidays are incorporated into the curriculum, right, in the classroom. So you have a situation where children are developing. They're learning about themselves. They're learning about their place in the world, in society, and in that little space that is their own world, which is their school life. So when you take a Jehovah's Witness kid and you put them into the classroom, all right, and you put them in this world where they're around other little people like themselves, what is one of the main things that these children are going to thrive with? They're going to thrive with being a part of that community. They're going to thrive with being friends. They're going to thrive in making and developing relationships with the children around them. And they need to be able to develop those social skills, because that is what's going to help them to begin to really make assessments psychologically, emotionally. It's going to help them be able to differentiate between right and wrong, how to have a relationship with someone. These are the skills that you want your children to learn. These are the skills that you want your children to develop. But as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, that's not really possible, because when Jehovah's Witness kids go into the public school system, they're first and foremost taught that they are better than the other children, because the other children who are not Jehovah's Witnesses are going to one day die at Armageddon. They're not going to get everlasting life. So Jehovah's Witness kids already know that they have the truth, and what they learn at home is the truth, finite. And everyone else outside of that bubble of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses are going to die. They're doomed, basically. Which automatically sets Jehovah's Witness kids apart in their minds psychologically. So they're not going to develop any relationships with other children, because they believe the other children are basically doomed. Now, thank you, Tiny Studio Assistant. Now, when we get into making friends, that's one of the essential things that children do automatically, is gravitate to people their own age. Because when children are together, they learn together, they experience things together, because that is what's going to help them grow through each and every stage of development of childhood. So Jehovah's Witness kids come in automatically thinking that that they have something, that they're basically for lack of words, they're better than everyone else. Okay, they come into the classroom with that, and then you have a situation where they cannot be friends with the other students in the classroom, because they are already told that friendship with the world is enmity with God. All right, so they come into the classroom thinking that all the other kids are bad and they are doomed. They come to the classroom thinking, I cannot be friends with this person, no matter how nice they are, no matter how smart and intelligent they may be, how funny they are, how much my inner self wants to connect with them, because that is what I'm supposed to do as a child. You have a religion that says, no, you're not to do that. You're not supposed to do that. So as a child, you have to fight the impulse, the natural impulse of community. in order to survive as a Jehovah Witness kid. So those two things alone makes a Jehovah Witness child feel ostracized, makes them feel like an outsider, makes them feel alone and lonely. Okay, I'm telling you this as a Jehovah Witness child. I went through it. I went through I went through kindergarten to 12th grade in the Detroit public school system. So I can confidently tell you that this has been my experience and the experience of my 4 children. Now, another thing that happens with holidays, as I mentioned to you, holidays are notably placed inside the curriculum at many schools. Now, some teachers put different holidays and whatever into the curriculum throughout the year, and some do not. But the majority of teachers do place celebrating holidays within the curriculum, especially Thanksgiving in this country and Christmas in this country, and as well as in other countries. So when you have a Jehovah Witness kid, what I experienced is that during the holiday season, if there were any art projects or assignments that circled or were formulated around a holiday, then I was given extra credit homework to do. I was given other types of art projects to work on, or I was just given a puzzle, a crossword puzzle or a word search puzzle. Now let me explain something to you about me. I am the word search queen. I am the word search queen. And why would I say that? And why is that true? Because throughout my throughout my entire formal education experience as a Jehovah Witness kid, whenever there were holidays going on, I was not only put outside of the classroom or sent to the library or something of that nature, but I was given word search and crossword puzzles to work on. So I am the quintessential word search queen. I can go through a word search book like that because that is what was given to me. But when you have a child that's placed outside of the classroom, placed outside because, it's a holiday, we're going to be working on this assignment, or we're going to be singing Christmas songs, or we're going to be reading something that is a holiday related, and the teacher, the adult figure, puts the child on the outside of the classroom or puts the child at a certain section alone in the classroom. What that communicates to the other kids in the classroom is that there's something wrong with that kid over there, the Jehovah Witness kid. Okay, something wrong with that kid if the adult in the classroom is basically setting them aside or apart from everyone else. That is the message that the other kids receive, and this leads to the bullying of the Jehovah Witness kid. Okay, now I know that the teacher may not go into this thinking that, hey, I am contributing to a bullying situation, but as a Jehovah Witness kid, okay, being me, that is exactly what happens, because what the ostracizing of, or the placing apart of the Jehovah Witness kid does is it really communicates to the other children that there's something different about this kid, or that there's something wrong with this kid. Children are not going to sit back and say or think, well, Tracy's parent or Nell's parent came to school one day and said, I don't want my child to be participating in making Christmas trees and turkeys and Indian Native American head dresses. I don't want my child doing that. So whenever you have holidays and different things within the curriculum that is based around holidays, I want you to send my child to the library, or I want you to send them on the outside of the class, or put them in a corner or something by themselves. Okay, kids don't know that, and they don't have the capacity to understand the logic behind that. All they know is that Nell is on the other side of the room working on a crossword puzzle, or Nell is sitting on in a desk outside of the classroom looking crazy working on a crossword puzzle. You know what I'm saying? So that set me up to be bullied from kindergarten to 8th grade. Can you imagine being bullied that long? I was bullied from kindergarten to 8th grade because that is how things were set up for Jehovah's Witness kids. Now, as far as my children were concerned, I in turn followed that pattern of becoming being a Jehovah's Witness kid into becoming a Jehovah's Witness adult and parent, and I continued that pattern with my own children. Even though I had this inkling within myself that it was wrong to do, but I did it anyway because that is the tenets of the religion. And every year there's a part given at the meeting at the Kingdom Hall where it tells kids and parents how to instruct their children for the school year. Now, if you are in a situation where you don't homeschool your children, and you don't have the capacity or the time to homeschool, then you have to submit your children to public education. And if you don't want your children to celebrate certain holidays, then you have to teach your children what to do when that situation arises, when they're confronted with the curriculum of engaging in holiday, festivities. And then you have to let the teacher or the instructor know that, hey, these are the things that I want done when you get to that point. It's Halloween, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. This is what I need you to do. Some teachers follow along, but other teachers don't have the freaking time to sit there and come up with a separate thing for a Jehovah's Witness kid to do while they're trying to supervise and instruct and engage with the other 30-something students in the classroom, So that Jehovah's Witness student, is just going to be sitting there looking crazy. I mean, that's happened to me before as well. So you have to also think about the psychological and the emotional impact of what being a Jehovah's Witness kid really is. Parents come into this organization sometime who do not have a background or was not raised in the truth. And so they really don't understand the psychological and emotional impact that being a Jehovah's Witness kid what it means, what it does to a child. They have no idea of the ramifications of it. They have no idea of the emotional turmoil that's behind it. When your child gets to an age where they want to, excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Let me go ahead and turn my phone off. I thought that I had, but I didn't. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. Sorry about that. When you have a situation where your child gets to the part of when they get to high school, all right, and there are many, many social activities and cultural activities and groups and clubs, and athletics that happens in high school, and your child's curiosity, as it should be, okay, because this is part of their development as a child into adulthood, they become interested in different things because kids have different talents. They have desires and they have dreams. So as they're going through their school life and they get to the point where, oh, hey, I'm in high school. I have athletic ability. I love football. I love to play soccer. I love to play tennis. I can swim. I want to be a part of the track team. Jehovah's Witness kids really want to get involved, and they should be involved. However, the religion says that they cannot be involved. Why? Well, because it means the interaction, the extracurricular interaction with worldly children. And Jehovah's Witnesses thrive on this scripture that says bad associations spoil useful habits. Now, what Jehovah's Witnesses would like kids to believe is that every person that they come in contact with that is outside of the congregation, that they're all bad. Okay, that they're bad association. You can pull any video, any type of tape of Jehovah's Witnesses when featuring Jehovah's Witness teenagers interacting with worldly kids, and you're going to always have a Jehovah's Witness kid who has a friend a worldly friend that's up to no good. Okay. Maybe offer them some weed or a cigarette or, a drink, or offer, hey, let's go to the club. It's always going to be something like that. So Jehovah's Witnesses demonize other children who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. So what Jehovah's Witness parents do is they tell their kids, well, I know you're really good at soccer. I know you like playing football. I know you like playing basketball. I know you like tennis. I know you love those things, but you cannot participate in any type of extracurricular activity. You cannot join any type of team in school, period. No, you cannot join the glee club, or especially the glee club or the band. You can't be a part of that, because what do? They play Christmas songs. They play, the national anthem. Okay. No, you can't be a part of that. You can't do that either. Well, I would like to be an artist. No, you don't need to be an artist. What you need to focus on is being a good regular pioneer or auxiliary pioneer. That's what you need to be focusing on. You need to be focusing on the truth. When you get to paradise, you can play football every day, all day long. That's what you can do. This is how Jehovah's Witnesses operate. And when it comes to child development, it's bad. Okay, it's really bad, and it's unfortunate that so many Jehovah's Witness youth go through school, go through their child development years, and become adults, and they are unfulfilled. They are unhappy. They are depressed. Why do you think it is that there's so many different talks and watchtower articles and videos on JW Broadcasting about depression? Okay, think about it. Why are so many people in the JWs depressed? Okay, because Jehovah's Witnesses claim they have the truth. So what is there to be depressed about? You should never be depressed if you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, right? I mean, you have the truth. One day paradise is coming. It's around the bend. I mean, aren't we on the last of the very last days? So why are Jehovah's Witnesses depressed? Jehovah's Witnesses are depressed and going through anxiety and mental health issues and disorders because they are unfulfilled. They have not lived their dreams or their passions. Everything about them is suppressed. And Jehovah's Witnesses raise their children in an environment that promotes this depression. It promotes the anxiety. Okay, because when you're suppressing kids' talents, you're suppressing their desires, you're suppressing how they play, you're suppressing how they how they interact with other kids, you're suppressing that natural need and force within them to want to be part of something greater than themselves. When you suppress that, you're damaging your child. So when they grow up and go out into the world, which they will have to if they're going to have a job or something like that, then once again, the skills that you have helped them to suppress, they have to go out into the world and practice that on everyone else. So they get out there into the workforce, they meet people, they realize that, hey, everybody isn't bad. Well, really, children begin to realize that anyway as they go through their formal education. They begin to see the hypocrisy as well. However, what Jehovah's Witnesses do to combat that hypocrisy that Jehovah's Witness kids begin to figure out is they tell them, well, you know what, this is not coming from me. This is really coming from Jehovah God. And if you love Jehovah God, you're going to follow what I say. Okay. That is so dangerous. And it's so many Jehovah's Witness kids who was raised in this religion like me, who it took a time for them to break away from it and to begin to live an actual life that's free from the tethers of being a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. You see all these books and things I have on the side of me, and crochet and all of those things. And, I'm an artist. I would have never thought in a million years as a Jehovah's Witness kid that this would be my life. Not ever. not hardly, because my life was supposed to be a missionary. I was supposed to be somewhere, in on the continent of Africa, or somewhere, being a missionary with a husband, or maybe, a married woman with kids in the congregation whose husband is an elder. That was all I was taught to aspire to. But now I have a whole career. I have several careers. I have careers within careers. And I'm happy about it. I feel fulfilled as a Black woman, as a woman, as a human being. I am starting to feel fulfilled. So you have to ask yourself, if you are studying with Jehovah's Witnesses and you have minor children, you have to ask yourself, is this really the religion that's for me, that's going to be beneficial to my children emotionally, physically, psychologically, all of the things. Yes, this religion teaches you about God, but this religion also suppresses the normal impulses and the normal development of a child. Okay? That's what it does. You need to be aware of that, because do you want to be responsible for suppressing your child's dreams in the name of a religion that claims that it gets all of its information from God, but yet still it says that it doesn't get its information from God? They tell you that everything from the Bible is inspired by God. Then they tell you that they're not inspired by God. They also tell you that they can get it wrong and that they have gotten it wrong many times. And then they'll say to you, well, we don't feel the need to apologize. So these are the things that you should think about if you are studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, you have minor children, or let's say you just recently got baptized as one of Jehovah's Witnesses and you have minor children and your children are in the school system right now. These are things that you need to think about very, very seriously, because what I don't want to happen to you is that your child begins to resent you for repressing them and suppressing the natural order of things in child development, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Because I resent my parents. My parents became Jehovah's Witnesses. They were not raised in this religion, and they became Jehovah's Witnesses, and they did not understand, or did not understand, or did not care to understand the trauma that I went through from K to 12. They did not care to understand the things that I went through as being a Jehovah's Witness kid. They did not really understand the bullying that I was going through. They didn't understand it, and they didn't care to understand, because they felt that what they were doing was right. But I'm here to let you know that, it's not. It's not. That's not to say, and I do want to repeat this, that's not to say that as a parent, you don't have the responsibility and the job to raise your children in a in a moral sense, religiously. You have the right to educate your children in the form and the manner that you choose to, and that whatever religion or spiritual path or non-spiritual path that you have, it's your right to teach your child that. But in the same respects, you also need to understand that the way we develop as human beings, that doesn't stop, regardless of your religion. That doesn't stop. And a religion should never suppress the natural inclinations of a child, the impressionable inclinations of children, ever. So I'm your girl, Nell. Thank you so much for watching the Blue Lotus Awakenings channel, or the XJW podcast, or the XJW Awakening podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe. Please comment and hit that like button, okay? Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.